Hey there, Janae with Palin Projects here, and welcome to 2023 and welcome to my channel. So this will be roughly my third year, I believe, in doing YouTube, and I thought what better way to start off my 2023 year than with a seed video. There were a lot of sales and a lot of deals going on at the end of the year. I meant to do this video before 2022 ended to give you guys kind of a heads up on the deals that were, coming down the pipe or that were happening. But a lot of seed companies severely discount their seeds at the end of the year because those seeds are packaged for 1 year only. It doesn't mean the seeds are bad, it's just they've been packaged for that year, therefore they have to be sold within that year and not necessarily used, but sold within that year and off of their walls basically. So one of the places that I have grown to love and I try to support dearly because I think they have a great mission, great prices, great variety, and honestly I feel like I get a pretty good bang for my buck, is MIGardener. Luke is fantastic. I know I've talked about him before on my videos because I have a lot of his seeds. He has his own channel, and he is great. He is full of knowledge, and is, if I have a question about something, I go and I look at his channel first because I feel like he has some great information out there. This, hopefully you can see it. I'll put the information as well below. This is the little card that comes with the seed packet. But I'll put their website and everything below as well. So, but let's get into it. Let's get into the massive seed haul that I have. I don't remember. It's been a while. Because like I said, I bought this stuff when it was on sale. So everything was, I believe, 50% off. And I had honestly, this round of seeds, I thought, and a lot of it is, but I was going to do a fall garden this year and things just kind of got away from me. It doesn't even, my receipt doesn't say how many seeds I bought. It's a lot. So I hope you guys enjoy this first video. I have quite a few videos planned for the future. It's not just about gardening, but there's projects going on around our house. One of my 2023 goals, because I'm not a resolution person, but one of my 2023 goals is to get the rest of my garden boxes built and filled, so that I can plant in them. So, but yeah, anywho, let's get into it and let's look at my massive seed haul. So first, I'm going to start with cucumbers. Again, like I said, I was hoping that this was going to be more of my fall garden seed haul, and I just didn't get around to it. Cucumbers don't tend to be frost hardy. They're more of a tender flower, or a tender plant. So squash, cucumbers, zucchini, that stuff. But I did pick up a couple of squash cucumber varieties because one, I don't have a ton, and I think I used some of it or the majority of it last year, and two, I've had some recommendations from people and I could get the seeds on sale so that I could try this year. So I'm pretty excited. The first one is an Armenian yard long cucumber. This is a favorite among kids and kids at heart for its fun snake-like shape. These cucumbers are tasty, refreshing, especially for those hot weather months. Slice them with sliced lemons in a water pitcher, and let the flavors melt together for about an hour. Add ice and serve. So start indoors 3 to 4 weeks. Direct sow 3 to 4 weeks after last frost. Days to germination is 6 to 10 days, 65-day maturity rate, 2 weeks, 2 weeks to, plant before your last frost. So 1 inch deep, full sun, and it's a container friendly one. It is a climbing cucumber as well. White Wonder. The White Wonder cucumber is one of the most beautiful cucumbers in the world. Ivory cucumbers grow in abundance on short vining plants. Wonderfully crisp, this variety is best for fresh eating. Add a unique touch to any salad. Round and plump, up to 7 inches long and 3 inches wide. Beautiful in the garden, contrasting the dark green foliage. Start indoors 3 to 4 weeks before your last frost, or direct sow 3 to 4 weeks after the last frost. 6 to 10 days for germination, 65 days for mature. Again, another vining variety, but I thought this one would be cool because it's a white cucumber. And anything like unique like that is interesting to me. The last cucumber I have is the National Pickling Cucumber. So this was developed as a specialty by the National Pickling Packers. It produces an abundance of 5 to 6 inch cucumbers, and you can eat them fresh in salad, juiced, obviously pickle them, dill, bread and butter, you know, etc., whatever you want to do with them. Low on seeds, and what seeds are produced are small and don't affect the texture. It's very tolerant to powdery mildew, and it's not resistant to it. But it's more resistant than the average cucumber. So 3 to 4 weeks, you can either start them indoors or direct sow before and after the last frost. 6 to 10 days for germination, 60 days for maturity. These again are a vining variety. Next up are my squashes. Let's start with the scalloped squashes. So I picked up a yellow and a white. Honestly, they're the same. So they're summer bush, either buttercup yellow or a white. And I got these because so I picked up some yellow cucumbers, or these yellow scalloped squashes, at a farmer's market, and honestly, like, Justin loved them in sauteed vegetables, and so I figured white and yellow, why not? 50 days to maturity for both, 5 to 10 days for germination, and it does recommend for squash to direct sow. So squash just doesn't do well with transplanting. So the next zucchinis, I have an Italian striped and a gray zucchini. Let's see. This one's 60 days, this one's 65 days to maturity, 5 to 10 days for germination, full sun, half-inch deep for planting. So the summer bush variety is heat resistant. It's gorgeous gray-green variety that is ideal for the small space gardener. The variety doesn't produce very long squashes, but they produce lots of them. Grows an average of 6 to 8 inches long. They are flavorful, slightly more resistant to powdery mildew than most. And then the summer bush, or the Italian striped, is a summer bush. It's a prolific producer, heirloom, and bears a distinct pattern and nutty flavor. Plants produce a smaller zucchini than other varieties, but it makes up for size and yields. Perfect for the small space gardener as well, and it's more tolerant to disease and will last longer into the season than most other varieties. So again, big zucchini person. I love to have it roasted, sauteed. Basically every meal has zucchini in it once my garden is up and running. So the last squash variety is the cucuzzi. I wasn't sure if I had these seeds still or if they were getting to be a little old, so I picked up an extra packet. But this is 80 days to maturity, 5 to 10 days for germination, direct sow it. It's a summer vine. It's an Italian variety that is flavorful as it is long. It is known as a snake gourd because of its appearance and ability to bend and twist like one. The flavor is tender, almost cucumber meets zucchini, aka cucuzzi-ish. Fruits start off fuzzy, and as they mature they become shiny. As the flesh thickens and as they mature they become shiny. Oh, Try this steamed, roasted, grilled, and even in soups. So honestly, the reason why I got these and why I've wanted to grow these for the past couple of years is because of how they look in a trellis. I'm hoping to get, once I get all of my garden boxes built this year, I'm hoping to build some nice trellises and be able to walk through. I think our daughter will just absolutely love it and just have like this magicalness about it. The next item that I purchased were sugar pie pumpkins. This has been a loved variety since the 1800s. It's also known as the New England pumpkin, and it has tons of meat with minimal seeds, making them a winner in the baking department. They are made for pie filling from these pumpkins and are sweet and smooth. They can also be used as decorations, but we would hate to see their great flavor go to waste. So it does say start 2 to 3 weeks before last frost or direct sow after the last frost. Days to germination, 7 to 14, and then 90 to 100 days of maturity. The reason why I got these was because this last year I really started to want to, you know, make my own stuff, make my own pie filling. I bought a couple of these and then from the store, and I was like, you know what, I could probably just grow my own and have a plethora of pie, you know, pumpkin pie mix or whatever, you know, put it into cookies, put it into muffins. So that's why I got those. Oh, there's another. I do have more pumpkins. Look at that. They were in the wrong pile. Cool. Jarhadale pumpkin. It's a blue pumpkin. If you can't tell, I'm a blue person. So when I saw these, I just had to have them. It's a true blue pumpkin. Plants will produce 4 to 6 medium-sized pumpkins. The flesh is deep orange and very thick. Carving is not really the best purpose, but decoration, it is beautiful. Incredible when roasted for pies, soups, and baked goods. Rich in flavor, creamy, and free of large strings. The seeds are large and delicious when roasted as well. It's a very long storing pumpkin. Start indoors 2 to 3 weeks before last frost or direct sow after last frost. Days to germination is 7 to 14, and then 95 to 100 days maturity rate. So again, honestly, the reason why I picked these is because they're blue. Straight up. But it'll be interesting to see these in, you know, soups and roasting them as well and see their flavor. I'm excited for that. And then the last is the Jack Be Little. And this is a prolific plant, easily produces 10 to 15 of the little pumpkins. Super tiny, cute in every way. The Jack Be Little pumpkins look great as decorations, but also edible as squash. Slightly stringier, sweeter than most of the pumpkin varieties. Start indoors 2 to 3 weeks before last frost or direct sow after the last frost. 7 to 14 days for germination, 90 to 100 days for maturity. Again, decoration for these bad boys. Probably won't eat them, but our daughter really loves painting pumpkins, and she was just absolutely obsessed with these Jack Be Littles last year at the store, and so got those to you know, share with her, and then she can have all the pumpkins she wants. What do I want to touch on next? Let's leave the flowers to the last. Let's go to peppers. I did buy more peppercini peppers. I pickled quite a bit of pepperoncinis last year, and I want to do it again this year. This is an Italian variety. Best known for pickling. Produces fruits that grow 2 to 5 inches long, ranging from about 100 to 500 on the Scoville scale. They're sweet, medium heat, and they'll go from pink to red when they reach full maturity, and then once pickled, it'll turn a pale yellow. 8 to 10 weeks to start indoors, 10 to 21 days to germinate, and 70 days for maturity. These plants were crazy last year. If I was to have given them more room, I'm sure I would have gotten significantly more peppers off of them, but they produced extremely well. And I had peppers that ranged from green to pink to red. I picked the majority of them when they were green, and then I pickled them that way. When I did pickle them, the one thing that my family noticed was that they were softer, and that's because they're fresh and they're, you know, my own, and I didn't put the preservatives that the stores put in them. Nothing wrong with it. They taste great. I mean, absolutely fantastic this winter, and I'll be doing that again. The next one is a large cherry pepper. Also known as the cherry bomb, it packs a punch. Produces small round peppers that resemble cherries. 70 to 80 peppers per plant, and they're more of like a northern growing season type plant. Southern states will have more yield. Tolerates shock very well in comparison to other peppers. It doesn't drop flowers when moved outside, making it easier to cut back. 8 to 10 weeks to start indoors, 10 to 21 days for germination, 75 days for maturity. This one is because my brothers always ask me to plant spicy peppers, so that's one that I will be planting this year. This one I ran out of seeds last year for, so I actually didn't get to try it. I don't know what happened to them. My brother had one plant though, and he pickled these bad boys, the orange habaneros, and they're fantastic. So I got these ones again. It does say, caution, this innocent looking pepper is very hot. Originating in Amazonian Brazil before making its way to northern Mexico and the Caribbean. This variety packs a punch. Fruit matures from bright green to an orange and has a taste of tangy citrus flavor accompanied by amazing heat. They're 3 to 5 centimeters long, best suited for the daring and those that love spicy foods. 8 to 10 weeks to start indoors, 7 to 10 days for germination, and 70 to 5 days for maturity. If these are anything like the yellow ones, which I believe they kind of are, and like I said, we've tried them. My brother either pickled or candied them. I don't remember which. Fantastic though, but they do pack a punch. There was quite a bit of milk drank over Thanksgiving because they're hot. So if you like hot peppers, there you go. But I'm going to try those again this year. Here are a cayenne pepper. It's do not be deceived by the size. These peppers pack a lot of heat and flavor. The variety is high yielding, producing skinny peppers 6 inches long, slightly hotter than jalapenos. This variety has multiple uses in the kitchen, fresh, canned, used in pickling, or dried. Cayenne is the perfect type for adding a kick to any recipe. 8 to 10 weeks to start indoors, 7 to 10 days for germination, and 75 days for maturity. I'm going to try dehydrating these and then blending them and making them into cayenne pepper and then using them for like pickling and stuff like that. Pretty excited for those ones. The next one is just an early jalapeno. I didn't realize I didn't have these seeds last year and I had to buy my jalapeno plant. So this is a great northern variety. Obviously in the lower southern states, you'll just get more yield. The peppers grow to 3 inches, prolific producers, can be eaten raw, cooked, or pickled. These peppers are a wonderful ingredient to traditional guacamole and can be sauteed and added to fajitas. 8 to 10 weeks to start indoors, 7 to 10 days for germination, 75 days for maturity. Honestly, what I really want to do is I want to candy them and make cowboy candy. Didn't get that chance last year because I got like 4. It was a weird growing year last year. But hopefully with a couple more plants this year, we'll be able to get after that. I said I wasn't going to buy any more tomatoes, but there were a couple of varieties that I didn't have and that I wanted to try. So I got 6 varieties of tomatoes, technically 5, one's a tomatillo, but here we go. This is the striped Roma. Honestly, I like the stripes and kind of want to do paste, can some paste this year, so that's why I got these. These are an indeterminate variety. The striped Roma tomato is a unique heirloom variety with a colorful flair. Their bright yellow lateral streaks makes an impressive yet versatile tomato. Minimal seeds. Use these for traditional Roma. Only when raw is it more appealing and interesting to the eye. Plants will produce all summer long. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. 5 to 10 days for germination. 75 to 80 days for maturity. So that's a fun one. I have Brandywines, but I don't have Brandywine Yellow. So this will be a new variety. It's an indeterminate, and it's a nice beefsteak variety. Low on acidity, which is great for my stomach. Making a delicious addition to a BLT, burger, salad, or just fried tomatoes. Plants will produce several pounds of tomatoes per plant, and ripening time is less than most of the late season tomatoes. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. 5 to 10 days to germinate, and 80 days till maturity. So I'm excited for those ones. My Brandywines did great last year, and they taste wonderful. So this is a yellow stuffing tomato. So I've told you guys a couple times that I can't eat bell peppers. They just don't agree with me. I'm pretty sure I'm allergic. So I figured if we do stuffed bell peppers, I can do stuffed tomatoes, and that's why I have these. It's an indeterminate variety, and it's creamy yellow in color, and once cut open they reveal an empty inside much like a pepper. The flavor is rich, savory, and very low in acid due to the yellow color. And it's good for stuffing with rice, mushrooms, spices, and then grilled or baked until tender. Production is not their main feature, so grow a few plants to make for the small yield. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. Days to germinate 5 to 10 days, and then 80 to 85 days for maturity. So I just felt like this was a good alternative for me. Justin loves stuffed peppers, and we just don't eat them because I would have to make something different. So if I can supplement with that yellow stuffer tomato, I think that'll be fantastic. I used up all of my yellow pear seed last year, so this is just a generic indeterminate yellow pear tomato. It's a cherry tomato. The yellow, the tomatoes are shaped in the size of a pear. Tolerant to powdery mildew and blossom end rot. 6 to 8 weeks to start indoors before the last frost. 5 to 10 days to germinate. 75 days until maturity. Honestly, you can't go wrong with a yellow pear. I love them. They're fantastic. Large red cherry. I didn't have cherry, or I used up the last of my cherry tomatoes, and my family loves the cherry tomatoes, so I'll grow them I'll grow this variety for them. It's an indeterminate. Obviously it's a northern grower favorite because I'm in the north and I love growing these. It offers everything you would want from a cherry tomato, but in half the time. Large plants, heavy yields, with great flavor, drought tolerant, resistant to wilt, fast grower, and perfect for trusses for tomatoes. 6 to 8 weeks to start indoors before your last frost, 5 to 10 days to germinate, 65 days for maturity. What I did with the majority of my cherry tomatoes last year was I dehydrated them. Our daughter loves it as a snack. They're super sweet. I love throwing them in to a bout of Alfredo. And it's like sun-dried tomatoes in our Alfredo. So it's absolutely fantastic. I basically sliced each cherry tomato in 3 and just dehydrated it. Once we kind of got sick and tired of eating cherry tomatoes. So I'll do that again next year because it's a healthy snack. And honestly, it's great. So the last tomato-esque item is the Grand Rio Verde Tomatillo. It's an indeterminate large tomatillo variety on the market with its fruits. It's a choice for homemade salsa verde with its sweet, bright flavor of green pepper mixed with tomato. Plants produce heavy yields of small husks covered fruits that fall to the ground at full ripeness. Doesn't require staking. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost, 5 to 10 days for germination, 30 to 90 days for maturity. Got it for the salsa verde, straight up. So, the remaining items besides the flowers I got for my fall garden, which we'll do a spring garden instead because I didn't get around to fall gardening. So a lot of these are frost tolerant or cold tolerant items. And I'm looking forward to having them in my garden. First up, we are going to do the Golden Detroit beets. It's the best tasting raw beet on the market. Bright orange, and it turns to a beautiful mustard color. Greens are edible as well, and are gold veined, which make them beautiful. Harvest when the roots are about 1 to 3 inches around. Twist off greens and harvest to minimize moisture loss. Direct sow these. Days to germination is 14 to 21, 50 to 60 days for maturity. So a fast growing crop. Bull's blood beets. It's fully edible again. Great variety for microgreens with the dark red leaves. Greens can be eaten in fresh salads. If you want to add some iron and color to your diet, this variety is sweet and delicious with a deep blood red color and lighter pink rings when sliced. Perfect for eating fresh, pickled, cooked, or used for dyeing fabric, which is interesting. Direct sow, 5 to 17 days for germination, 50 to 60 days for maturity. I got these to can, not necessarily pickle. Might try pickling them, but just a straight up can. The next one, I grew a couple of these this year and they worked well once I got them in the ground, but I didn't get to harvest because our cold came too fast. So this is the American flag leek. I got this for soups and broth making. So it's a mild and sweet flavor than most onions. Not only is it a close relative to the onion, but to garlic as well. The large stem grow in girth as the leeks mature, giving green flat leaves. A staple in cuisine, leeks give a taste of light onion flavor to soup, stews, or even traditional English meat pies. Start indoors 8 to 10 weeks prior to last frost and transplant 2 to 4 weeks prior to last frost. 4 to 10 days for germination, 130 to 140 days for maturity. These guys, the leeks that I grew last year, sat on our front porch for weeks, like weeks. Once I got them in got them actually planted, it was just like, boom, leeks. And I went out and I was going to harvest them and then the snow hit and they're still out there. So kind of a waste, unfortunately, sadly. But it was my first time growing leeks and I'm going to try it again. Next one is the green globe artichoke. I've tried this before. I want to do it again. These freshly harvested heads are sweet and delicate tasting with a tender texture. The globe is the flower bud, which includes many edible parts. Use this to satisfy your taste for grilling or creating your very own creamy spinach artichoke dip, which is what I want to do. Start indoors 8 to 12 weeks before your last frost, 14 to 21 days to germination, and 100 days for maturity. So I'm either going to clip them as flowers, because I love artichoke flowers as well, and or let them grow on to be fruit. So the next two, I guess one is pretty cool. The rattlesnake pole bean is a popular choice for its striking green and purple streaks. This variety grows from 6 to 7 inches long and is delicious eaten fresh, canned, frozen, or dried. The pods are green with purple streaks and the beans are light tan with brown specks. Pick young for snap peas or wait until maturity for dried beans. 2 to 3 weeks to start indoors or direct sow after the last frost. I will be direct sowing these. 8 to 10 days for germination, 50 days for maturity. So I thought those would be a nice addition. I'm curious to can those and see if they keep their color. The last one is just a sugar snap pea, nothing special. It's a go-to choice for everyone who loves productive, sweet, and crisp peas. They produce small, cute pods and are deliciously able to be eaten raw, cooked, pod, or peed. Shelled peas. Plant produces early and abundantly 3 to 4 inches for the pods. So it's a pollinator attractant as well. Snap peas are extremely cold hardy. Many have reported being able to have snow on them without being negatively affected, which is pretty cool. I will be direct sowing these 6 to 8 weeks prior to the first fall frost. I'll do it this spring. And then 7 to 10 days for germination, 55 days for maturity. So that's pretty exciting. Another one, I got 2 different kinds of parsnips. An All-American, so this flesh of the variety is sweet, tender, and fine-grained with light yellow color. It's mild in flavor. Sweetness is perfect for fall or winter cooking. Grows up to 12 inches long when ready, 18 inches long when fully matured, packed with vitamin C, K, B9, and others. It's a biennial plant that produces seed stalks the following year. Direct sow these. Germination is 14 to 28 days, and then 120 days for maturity. And then the Hollow Crown, which this variety is one of the lesser known parsnips. Their flavor is more of like a potato carrot. And the roots are large in size, averaging about 1 to 2 inches in diameter. And they store very well, which is exciting. So this is also a biennial. Direct sow, 14 to 28 days for germination and 100 days for maturity. So I'm excited to try both of those and see what the difference is and see the taste. The next few varieties we're going to go through is cabbage. So I have cabbage and cauliflower. This is a cauliflower, self-branching, large leaves tightly around the head. The head can grow 8 inches wide. Smooth, fine-grained heads are great for pickling and freezing. Yeah. Good source of vitamin C and B6. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost. Direct sow. 8 to 10 days for germination, 70 to 80 days for maturity. I probably will start them indoors. The next few varieties I started last year with you all. I planted them out again super late. I was going to go out and harvest them before our frost and I didn't get through them. So these 3 varieties I've grown, absolutely love the taste of them. Copenhagen Market, 3 to 4 pound heads, awesome cabbage. I start them indoors 6 to 8 weeks before my last frost, 7 to 14 days for germination, 65 days for maturity. The Mammoth Red Rock Cabbage, again, just beautiful cabbage. Fast growing, 5 to 8 pound heads. Absolutely gorgeous. I start these 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. Indoors, 7 to 14 days for germination, 90 days for maturity. And the late flat Dutch cabbage. Again, this is another just absolutely massive cabbage. I'll throw a picture up on the screen of one of my cabbage harvests from 2 years ago. Great flavor. 6 to 8 weeks to start indoors before your last frost. 7 to 14 days for germination, 100 days for maturity. These cabbages get massive. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. Pak Choi white stem cabbage. I figured this would be an interesting one to try. I've never grown it. It's a personal size bok choy. It's a quick developing, rich Asian green, crisp, close leaves arranged in an upright growth pattern. It has mild flavor, fresh, crisp, hydrating leaf that grows about 8 to 10 inches long. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost, 17 to 14 days for germination, 60 days for maturity. And then the last one is a Danish ballhead. Cultivated in 1887. Heads grow about 8 to 10 inches in diameter, so a little bit smaller. Great as a storage crop to enjoy your garden bounty even past the frost. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, 7 to 14 days for germination, 120 days to maturity. So I'll be starting all the cabbages and the cauliflower indoors and then transitioning them to outside. The next few varieties, I'm thinking of planting my green stock in the house. I don't know if it's too hot in here to do this, but we'll try. I got a wide range of lettuces. I really wanted to try growing inside, so we'll see if it's too warm, and if it is, we'll try something else in the green stalks. Maybe some flowers to have some fresh cut flowers through the winter season. Iceberg lettuce. Homegrown iceberg lettuce surely will taste better than anything you buy in the store. Tightly bound heads release fresh flavors, wonderful crunch. The variety is perfect for making wedge salads. Start indoors 4 weeks before transplanting or direct sow. 7 to 10 days for germination, 80 to 90 days for maturity. Cold tolerant. Harrison Improved Crisp Head Lettuce. It's an old family variety that originated with the Hanson family in Maryland. It's a refreshing taste, and it's like kind of like iceberg, but if you want something crunchier. And it's a great add-on to deli sandwiches. Start indoors 4 weeks before transplanting or direct sow. 7 to 10 days for germination, 70 to 80 days for maturity. Cold tolerant. Any of the salads I tend to direct sow. It's just easier that way. Great Lakes Crisp Head Lettuce. Black-seeded Simpson lettuce is one of the most popular forms of lettuce in the home garden. Cut and come again style lettuce, which is great. Delicious non-bitter variety of lettuce. Start indoors 4 weeks before transplanting or direct sow. 7 to 10 days for germination, 50 days for maturity. Cold tolerant. Grand Rapids leaf lettuce. It was bred in the late 1800s. It's a Michigan classic, grown for its large loose heads and frilled leaves. It makes for a romaine substitute with much more flavor and character. Start 4 weeks before transplanting or direct sow, 7 to 10 days for germination, 45 days for maturity, and is cold tolerant. Rainbow Swiss Chard. I got this for juicing. Colorful, vibrant rainbow Swiss chard mix, including red, yellow, orange, white, and hot pink. It's a showstopper. Grows 18 to 24 inches tall. Start indoors 5 to 6 weeks before the last frost or direct sow after the last frost. 7 to 14 days for germination, 45 days for maturity. It's a spring, summer, and fall variety. It's cold tolerant as well. Last one is Red Russian Kale. This beautiful variety is sage green with purple veined leaves. 15 inches long, adds to smoothies juices as a nutrient dense green. Very frost tolerant, and the leaves become more tender and appetizing after a hard frost. Excellent source of vitamin C and A. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost or direct sow, 7 to 10 days for germination, 30 to 50 days for maturity, and it's cold tolerant. So it's kind of my lettuce haul. I kind of went a little crazy on the lettuce. We'll move into herbs next. Honestly, I was kind of thinking I would probably plant more herbs in my green stock in the house and see how they do. You know, basil, stuff like that, along with the lettuces. So I'll bring you along for that, for that video as well. Mammoth Long Island Dill. A fragrant herb that is a pollinator favorite, grows up to 3 to 4 feet tall. Ferns are large and produce umbrella-like blooms that infuse the breeze with pleasant aromatics. It's a pickling variety. You can bet what I'm going to do with this. Start indoors 3 to 4 weeks before the last frost or directly sow it. 6 to 14 days for germination, 65 days for maturity. Pollinator friendly, yeah, just a great variety of dill. All of this, ooh, went a little crazy on the basil too. So the next couple varieties are going to be basil. Basil! Spicy Globe. It's used in the place of sweet basil. It's a flavorful kick to your recipe. It does wonderful in containers because it's a little bit smaller. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost or direct sow after the last frost. 7 to 14 days for germination, 70 days until maturity. The more you cut it, the more it grows. So that's pretty cool. Dwarf Greek. It originated in the Mediterranean. It's a perfect for your container garden or your kitchen counter. Easy to grow, annual, that develops into an attractive bushy plant. It also has a strong scent that can aid as a pest deterrent, which is cool. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost or direct sow, 7 to 14 days for germination, 60 to 75 days for maturity. Again, this is another one, the more you cut it, the more it likes to grow. This one's just straight up cool. Look at that dark opal basil. It's a beautiful variety, grown as much for decoration as it is for its flavor. dark stems, lilac flowers, and it's a perfect garnish. So, I mean, just absolutely beautiful. Stunning for bouquets as well. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost or direct sow. 7 to 14 days for germination. 65 days for maturity. And this is another variety. The more you cut it, the more it wants to grow. Holy basil. I tried growing this last year. I don't know where it ended up, to be honest. It might have ended up in my green stock and it might have died because I probably didn't water it enough. It does well indoors when the weather changes, and the more you cut it, the better it likes its life too. So start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost or direct sow it. 7 to 14 days for germination, 55 to 65 days for maturity on that bad boy. Cinnamon basil! It's cinnamon colored stems and warm spicy flavor. It's delicious with fruit and on Asian or Indian dishes. Great for containers. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost or direct sow it. 7 to 14 days for germination, 65 days for maturity. Basil is one. I think all of these says it loves to be cut back. So the more you cut it, the more it grows. Thai basil. Popular in Thai or Vietnamese cooking, this variety of basil has a spicy flavor used widely throughout Southeast Asia. It's more stable under the heat and long duration when cooking. It's ideal for container gardening as well. So start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost, direct sow. After the frost, 7 to 14 days for germination, 65 days for maturity. I think all of them said that they do better if you cut them regularly. So as you can tell, I have a lot of basil that I am going to grow. It's great for container gardening, honestly, and so that's one of the reasons why I want to grow just a ton of it. And I want to do another bout of parsley and all of that in there as well. So again, that'll come in a little bit. Spearmint. The reason why I got this seed packet is because last year one of Justin's friends mixed spearmint with watermelon, and I could not get enough of it. So here we go, spearmint. It's one of the most widely used of the mentha strains for its strong fragrance and flavor. Grows up to 2 feet tall, attracts honeybees and other pollinators, and mint can be harvested at any stage. It'll grow back year after year. It will become invasive if you plant it in the ground. So it's best for container gardening, and it's best not to have a hole in your container. It will spread and you will never get rid of it. This one does say to cold stratify, so it'll need to go into the fridge for a little bit. Start indoors 8 to 10 weeks before the last frost or direct sow. 10 to 16 days for germination, 80 days for maturity. Germination temperature needs to be about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius. So that's something that I will have to look into. Last but not least, oh, I have a couple more tomatoes. I told you guys I couldn't resist. Okay, last two varieties for tomatoes that I just found. The blush tomato. I mean, honestly, guys, look at how beautiful that is. It's an indeterminate, beautiful, bright sunset orange with a unique flavor, sweet with tropical notes. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost. 5 to 10 days for germination, 75 days for maturity. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. And then look at this one. I mean, the Jubilee tomato, just gorgeous. It's an indeterminate variety. It was a 1943 variety. The classic heirloom. Louisiana is known for growing these in large numbers for juice with the sweet and low acidic qualities. It's tolerant to drought, humidity, and heat, and produces high yields of tomatoes all season long. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, 5 to 10 days for germination, 80 days for maturity. You can see why I got them. So my free, MIGardener does give a free seed packet. My free seeds is just a salad bowl mix. Like, I needed more salad, but I'm excited to try it. It's a premium artesian blend of greens that will rival any salad mix from the store. It has a variety of textures, leaf types, colors, and grown together, harvest as a well-rounded salad as a simple snipping, or a simple snipping with just a few leaves. It says succession every 2 to 4 weeks to stay in harvest. So best if you direct sow, but you can transplant it as well. So that was my free seed packet, which is exciting. I always love free seeds. The last few items are just flowers. So I got some flowers from MIGardener. Common English lavender, because I used and killed all of my lavender seeds last year. Bush-like variety cultivated for its fragrance and flavor. It's the highest concentration of essential oils. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks, 14 to 30 days for germination, 90 days for maturity. It does say it's perennial for zones 3 through 9. Promote good shape when young, so trim it back. And it does need cold stratification, so that'll have to happen for that. Swamp milkweed is vital to the survival of the monarch butterfly. This showy 2 to 4 foot perennial grows clumps of small mauve flowers filled with nectar that bring in pollinators, and it grows easily from seed and isn't invasive like some other varieties. Start indoors 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost or direct sow. 7 to 14 days for germination, 60 to 75 days for maturity. It's perennial in zones 4 through 8, and it needs to be cold stratified. Milkweed always needs to be cold stratified. So, butterfly milkweed, though most monarchs prefer other milkweed varieties, this variety will attract many different kinds of butterflies and pollinators. It needs to be started indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost or directly sowed. It does need to be cold stratified as well. It's perennial in zones 4 through 8, 7 to 14 days for germination, and 60 to 75 days for maturity. I'm going to try both of those varieties, again, just cold stratifying them. So these next items, or these next flowers, Shelby's barking, are just straight up flowers, and I probably will try a couple in the green stock indoors, because I think it would be nice to have some flowers this winter. It's been a really hard winter, really cold, and it's probably going to be a super long winter as well. So yeah, we'll start some and see what happens. This is just a silver aster. It's bicolored variety, snowy white petals that extend into lavender or a purple. Each plant grows about 24 to 32 inches tall with about 12 stems. Blooms that reach about 2 to 3 inches. Start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost. 10 to 20 days for germination. 110 to 120 days for maturity. Harvest as a cut flower utilizing clean shears at the desired stem length. Vase life is 7 to 10 days. This is a variety of violet aster. My mom's favorite color is purple, so I'll grow these for her. It's a jewel-toned aster variety, deep plum color that will complement any arrangement. It grows 24 to 32 inches tall with 12 stems apiece, with blooms that reach about 2 to 3 inches as well. All the elegance of peonies and mums without the hard work. So start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, 10 to 20 days for germination, and 110 to 120 days for maturity. Another great cut flower variety, and the vase life is 7 to 10 days. I will try and find, these aren't from MIGardener, but I'll try and find a picture of both of these. These are California giant zinnias, and then Lilliput zinnia. So these are zinnia variety. I love zinnias. The more you cut them, the more they produce. And they're absolutely beautiful. So I might try these inside, might not. I know zinnia plants get to be fairly big, so it'll take up quite a bit of my growing space if I do grow zinnias inside. But anywho, that is my MIGardener seed haul from the fall. So that was going to be my fall garden, minus, you know, some varieties in there that wouldn't have held up great. Whoop. As they all fall to the ground. Regardless though, it'll make for a great spring garden, or a a great green stock winter planting as well. So that's kind of my plan to do with it. The seeds will not go to waste. I'll utilize them and we'll be able to eat fresh food, and I'll have a nice bit of green and be able to grow some stuff inside. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But we'll see you in the next project or the planning of the next project. Hope you guys had a wonderful 2022 and started off your new year of 2023 extremely well and are going strong. But yeah, if you have any questions about these seed varieties, please feel free to leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next project. Thanks everyone. Bye.